Hi, everybody. I'm going to talk you through how to do your ISN notebook page number 21. I'm going to invite you to go into the classroom and go into classwork and go ahead and open ISN 21 and view the assignment. And once you're there, you're going to see a number of things here that I think will be helpful for you. You're going to see the slides from today that will have all the images and pictures and videos that you need to do the assignment. You'll see photos of the actual page if you need to see the pages a little bit bigger. I added the left-hand side directions, but your assignment for today is to work on the right-hand side, okay? And it is going to be due our next class. Now that I'm making this video and having it be a little bit more clear, I think you'll have lots of opportunities tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon to get help if you need it. Okay, so your job number one is to make sure that you write the assignment number and the name and date at the top, just like we did together in class. So number 21, population density and Shell Beach, and then today's date. 2/25/21. For me, it's on page 45. I think it will be for you as well on the right-hand side. Our new term that we're thinking about today is called population density. And I want you to write that term or words and then add the definition or formula. So population density equals number of organisms divided by the area of the location where you are counting them. And we're going to practice doing that in those two locations that we looked at this morning. After you copy the definition and the formula, go ahead and skip a space and leave a little area here that we're going to call beach rock observations. Okay. And you're going to be making some observations from the video that is in this slide deck, and I'll show you that in a moment. All right, then you're going to make a table, and it's going to have 4 big sections: organism name, the number of organisms, the area, and the population density. The number of organisms is going to get divided into 2 columns. So we'll have picture number 1 and picture number 2. And population density, same, number 1 and number 2. Okay, all right. I'm going to come over to the slides now. All right, so what's your job on that notebook page? So you can go through again and enjoy some of the photos and some of the information on your own in the slides here. More of these beautiful images that we saw in Shell Beach. This was in February during one of our 3-day weekends. Population of California seals. We see some different sea snails here. We see some sea stars here. Lots of good populations. We have a good sea anemone. It's a beautiful day. And I hope many of you get a chance to get out there as well. All right, here we go. Let's get started. So your first job is you're going to watch this video, and I'll play it here as part of this video if you want to have it be all together. And your job is you're going to watch the video and you're going to write down 3 or more observations or notices in your notebook. Okay, so I'll go ahead and let that play. Give you some space to do it. You can always rewind this or pause it if you need to. It is a little blurry full screen, so we can always play it this way as well as I get the next pieces going. All right. So here's the data table that you have copied from your notebook page right here. And I've added a few more details into it. So the three organisms that you're going to be observing today in your notebook are the sea stars, the barnacles, and the mussels. So I want you to add those three names here into your notebook, and you can pause at this point if you need to copy them down. Then you're going to add the area. So if you remember, the area that we were working with was a 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter square. And to calculate the area, that's going to be length times width. And we get 1 meter squared. So all of our areas are 1 meter squared. Once you have that information added into your notebook, go ahead and add these lines to divide our picture 1 and picture 2, and add your lines here to divide your sea stars, barnacles, and mussels. And you're going to be ready to start counting the number of organisms. So we're going to start with the next slide at picture 1. And your job is to count or estimate the number of organisms that you think are there. So in picture number 1, how many sea stars do you see? How many barnacles do you see? And how many mussels? And these are estimates. So you're going to give it your best guess based on what you see in the picture. They don't have to be exact numbers. And it's going to go in these first boxes for picture number 1. Okay, let's get to it. All right, so with this picture, we're looking at the sea stars. We have an orange sea star here and a purple sea star here. They're both ochre sea stars. We have one California mussel that we noticed this morning hanging out over here. There's a few more up here, but they're not in our square, so we're not going to be using those. We're only going to be counting the ones that are right here in our square. And then we have some goose barnacles. They're called that because they have this extension that comes out and looks like a gooseneck. So there's a group here and a group here. So your job is to count how many sea stars in this picture number 1, how many mussels, and how many of these goose barnacles are you seeing? And if you need to pause and delete it, please do that now while you're counting. And remember, those numbers are going to go right here. So number of sea stars, number of barnacles, number of mussels, right in your notebook. And think about what part of the rock this is. So we go back, actually we'll go back that way, but this part of the rock is the left-hand side. It's facing south, which is towards Bodega Bay. And then we were doing our 1 meter square area facing the land. So the land is behind us, it's inland, facing east. And we started from the bottom of the water or the sand up to 1 meter high. Just things to think about as we're doing our density population data. All right, so let's see what we got. So when I calculated, I got that there were 2, or when I counted, I got 2 sea stars. I estimated with you all in first and third period, and we found that there were in between 25 to 40 barnacles. I went with 40. That was what the group decided. And then we noticed this one little mussel that was hanging out, and we counted him as the 1 there. Right, and I'm doing it, this picture is a little different, I'm noticing. I'm doing it based on this picture here, where we have the 1 mussel that's in there. All right, so you're gonna make sure you have those numbers in, and then you're ready to calculate your population density. And remember, it's the number of organisms divided by the area. So for the sea stars, we're gonna say the population density is 2 divided by 1, which gives us 2 individuals per meter squared. Okay. So you want to make sure you calculate that and make sure you add those units. So each of these is going to be individuals per meter squared. individuals per meter squared. Okay. And if you need to pause it there to do that piece, go ahead and do that. Okay. Now, now you're going to use slide 9, the next slide, to do the picture 2 counts. So this count is the other side of the rock. We're going to be all the way over on the right-hand side. So let's come back over there, and you're going to count how many sea stars, how many barnacles, and how many mussels you see there. All right, so now same rock. Here's Mr. Beccaria, here's me. I'm actually kneeling right where the waves are coming up, so I got really wet doing this part of the density population count. It was fun. Again, we went 1 meter up from the sand, and now this rock is facing north, and this is almost directly facing north, and then kind of northwest over here. I'm kind of in the northwest area with the ocean behind me. So this is a very different part of this rock. And I'm already noticing that some very different organisms are living here and populations are living here. So we have some limpets. We're not going to count these, but we have limpets here. And then it seems like we have a lot more of these California mussels. So again, your job is to think about, okay, how many mussels are in this square? How many sea stars? And how many, what am I missing? Barnacles. I broke this up into 4 quadrants so that you would be able to check out each one. Okay, so you can kind of estimate this one, estimate this one, estimate this one, estimate this one, and then times it by 4. That's very helpful when you're counting something like this where you have a lot of organisms in the population. So with your mussels, estimate how many you think are here, how many you think are here, and then add those together and see if you think you have any in the bottom. Okay, you can pause here as you're doing that. All right, so if you need to go back, you can go back and look. So we noticed that there were 0 sea stars on this section and 0 barnacles and a lot of mussels. So your job, you're not putting a question mark here, your job is to estimate how many barnacles you think are there and then add that to your calculation. Oh, I didn't change these numbers here. Let's change these. So now, once you've done that, then you're going to come in and change your density population data, right? So I'm going to let that one be the mystery, whatever you all decide. Oh, no. That was right, Sakura. Sorry. I did it right. Not paying attention to my own thing here. Okay, sorry, you guys. That's right. Pick 2 comes over here. All right, so when you're ready for your population density for picture 2, hopefully you worked it out better than I did. You're going to be looking over here. So now for picture number 2, for this area, for the sea star, it's 0 organisms divided by 1 meter squared area, which gives us a population density of 0, which makes sense. There's none there. And our barnacles are the same, right? So 0 barnacles, and then you're going to do that same calculation. And then you'll do the same thing for your mussels. So you're going to make sure you have these 2 boxes filled out. So that is your job for Monday, is to make sure you've completed your density population data table with all the counts and all the calculations in the area, and that you have those observations here at the top based on the video. Okay. On Monday, we're going to talk more about what patterns we're seeing and what we're noticing and wondering from this population density data. And so I'm going to invite you, if you want, before Monday, you can start thinking about these 2 questions. These questions are on the left-hand side. You can start that if you'd like. It'll be due later in the week, next week. But if you want to start thinking about it, that's great. If you would like to wait until we talk about it more together on Monday, you're certainly welcome to do that as well. Okay, but these will be on the left-hand side. All right, everyone, great work and have a wonderful weekend.